Welcome to the Athletic Brewing post-race report. Alongside Didi Griesbauer and Laura Siddle, I'm Michael Lovato. The VinFast IRONMAN 70.3 World Championship women's race took center stage today here in Topah. And we did something unprecedented. We crowned the first ever Ironman Pro Series champion and the VinFast IRONMAN 70.3 World Champion. Here's the race recap. And the race recap begins on beautiful Lake Topah with this opening ceremony like you've never seen before.
That's right. We saw the waka coming on to the beach with the Maori iwi giving their welcome to the athletes, a sort of tribal war fight before the pro women started.
And then on the start line, you see all these women tackle this Roka swim course one lap. They all got right after it, Didi, didn't they? And it was on from the very start.
It sure was. A lot of familiar names at the front of the race, namely Taylor Knibb, Sarah Perez, Beck Clark amongst the leaders in the swim as well. But they didn't get away.
They did not. They had company throughout, and even there were times when we couldn't predict who was going to be first. Side-by-side swimming, some drama early, but we did see some dynamics continue through this one-lap swim.
Yeah, that's right. Taylor Knibb took it out first in the lead, starting her day very aggressively, but it was Lottie Wilms from the Netherlands who decided to take charge later on during the race. But we still had that group of 5 women, including Imogen Simmons was just off the back there. They were trying to get away, but they couldn't quite get the big gap on the leaders as they got to the shore.
A little navigational error from Taylor Knibb at the swim exit saw Sarah Sala Perez out of the water first.
The Spaniard was the first to do that 400-meter run all the way to T1 and then out on the bike course. One very difficult lap in front of all of these women, and it did not take long before we saw what we predicted, Taylor Knibb to overcome the Spaniard you see on camera now.
That's right, and we had a new bike course for the VinFast 70.3 World Championships, coming out on Broadlands, but then taking a left into the rolling hills, going over the Waikato River, the Aratiatia Falls, before coming back on Broadlands. But it was Imogen Simmons and Kat Matthews who set about chasing down Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor would take to the lead of the bike, followed by Imogen and Kat. But there was a large chase group, including Julie Darren, Paula Findlay, Marta Sanchez in there for a while, Ash Gentle, Caroline Pola amongst that group.
And just putting massive distance between herself and the chasers, Taylor Knibb was going for that third title, and she really asserted herself in front of, in particular, these two, Kat and Imogen.
Yeah, and Kat and Imogen, they managed to hold the gap to Taylor, just leaking a few seconds over the 10 kilometers or so for the first half of the bike. But it was really the last 30 kilometers that we saw that gap blow out, and Taylor went out to a 4-minute lead over the rest of the field.
Yeah, it really was a mic drop moment for Taylor in the closing kilometers of the bike, where all of us jaws dropped to see 4 minutes and 26 seconds lead coming into T2.
And there you see Taylor Knibb ready to go. She did quite a good job transitioning from bike to run. And in front of her, the Hoka run course, 2 laps, 13 miles, 21K. That was all that stood between her and that third title.
And then we had Kat Matthews and Imogen Simmons coming in second and third. Imogen's had a quicker transition heading out onto the run, but Kat Matthews did not let that deter her, and her eyes were set, focused in, laser focused onto the athletes ahead.
Behind, we thought Julie Darren and Ash Gentle would run their way, but Taylor seemed so strong throughout the first lap of the Hoka run course.
As great as she looked, we were guessing when we kept seeing Kat Matthews just charging forward, almost not aware that she had nearly 5 minutes down. She just kept going, and Imogen Simmons really held on well to that podium spot until you saw Ashley Gentle from Australia roll through.
And that's right, when Ashley started the run, she didn't look like her normal self. She looked to be struggling a bit, but she kind of ran herself into the race and was soon closing down to the women in front, whilst Taylor Knibb just looked supreme at the front.
She looked supreme at the front, but always chasing. Kat Matthews made a race of it. Boy, at 4.5 minutes down in T2, she closed the gap to just 75 seconds by the time the women made it towards the finish line.
Proving that every second matters in the race within the race, she fought to the end, but this champion, 26 years old from USA, Taylor Knibb, took her third VinFast Ironman 70.3 World Championship title.
But Kath Matthews would charge home triumphant in second place and take home the honor of the first winner of the Ironman Pro Series for 2024.
And rounding out our podium in her debut at the Ironman 70.3 World Championships, Ashley Gentle from Australia coming in third.
A fantastic display for the women today in Topaz, and they're celebrating their victories, the podium. A beautiful shot of a job well done. Celebrating, smiling, embracing one another, and very much proud of one another. And here, the standings, Dee Dee.
Yep, that's it. Taylor Knibb, Kat Matthews, Ash Gentle on the podium. Imogen Simmons would hang on for fourth. Julie Darren would settle for fifth.
And then in sixth place, Canadian Paula Findlay, another great result from her. Ellie Salthouse in seventh, Caroline Pola, eighth, Tamara Dewitt, ninth, and Grace Tech. Fantastic result, rounding out the top 10.
And if that top 10 wasn't impressive enough, we had this, the first ever Ironman Pro Series, the women's final standings. Who was on top, Dee Dee?
Kat Matthews, by virtue of her second place finish here, second place finish in Nice, and an outstanding season all around. Our winner of the first Ironman Pro Series, Jackie Herring, holding on to second. Lotta Vilms, Hannah Berry, Maya Stage Nielsen.
And then Danielle Lewis, Els Visser, Daniela Blymel, Alice Alberts, and Penny Slater all finishing our top 10 in the Pro Series results.
An incredible day as you watched Topaz display what they are known for: Ironman community, power, strength, and courage, everything in one day. This has been the Athletic Brewing post-race report.